Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video. We are finally talking about the Chanel Holiday Collection 2022. I have picked up a few items here from this release. I recently did a video where I did an unboxing and a haul. Today we're doing swatches and a full look with this collection. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. Now, as you may know, I have my online beauty consulting service. This is a one-on-one video chat with me where you get to pick my brain and you get my undivided attention. So if you have specific questions regarding your unique makeup kit, makeup needs, that is the perfect reason to book a session. So to make an appointment for yourself, go ahead and click the link down below. Okay. Chanel Holiday 2022. I am so excited about this because I've been seeing advertisements. I've been seeing Marion Cotillard hug a golden moon. The slogan for this collection is Demandez la lune, which means like ask for the moon, which is basically like saying ask for everything and then even more. I love the warm marketing campaign. The photos just look warm. Not only in the photos, everything just looks saturated in gold. It looks very luxurious, very decadent. It gives me a sort of vintage meets heavy glamour. It's just very nice and I'm very excited to have it. I have a few items here, so let's go ahead and talk about what I picked up. I picked up the 4 Shadow Palette 937 Ombre de Lune 937. Ombre de Lune just translates to moon shadows. So again, we are going to the moon, we're flying to the moon and back, and we're seeing this lovely detailing here. We see the moon embossed on the shadows. We see number 5 embossed on the shadows. And typically number 5 and the holidays are like two peas in a pod forever, basically. The brand has always marketed number 5 very heavily with the holiday season, but this year they've also included Mademoiselle, which is huge. This has never been done before. This is very different. Let's just take a brief moment to admire this palette in its pristine condition before I go ahead and do some swatches. So just like everyone else, I saw tons of promo photos for this palette here, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a classic smoky eye or what it is, and I'm very pleasantly surprised. These shadows are not what I expected. I would say that these 3 here feel very creamy, very buttery, just the typical Chanel formula. And this gold one here, this one here feels a little bit more like a topper. In the pan, it looks incredibly gold, and it is gold. But this one here, I would say is a little bit more of a topper shade. It's not quite the same texture as these 3 here. And I would say that this one here is a soft velvet matte. It isn't a hard matte, but it's definitely more matte, whereas these 2 are just the classic satiny, buttery formula. And I'm intrigued by this color story because I was not expecting a warm brown palette. Although we do see warm golds and those types of hues for holiday releases. It's just, I think in my mind, I thought it was going to be a classic smoky eye palette. And this is quite different, but I'm not mad at it. I'm actually quite intrigued. So from the swatches, I think there's going to be versatility with the lighter shades and also with the darker. So maybe what I can do is create 2 different eyeshadow looks for you guys today just to play around with it. And then of course, I also picked up one of the highlighters. This is the Éclat Lunaire, the oversized illuminating face powder in Or Rose. This means rose gold. There's another one that's warmer, more golden, and in my opinion, for deeper skin tones. So this one here, we have the number 5 imprinted on the moon. We went to the moon, we brought number 5, and we traced it around in the moon dust here. So this is what we have. It's really pretty. It looks like a giant crater of number 5 here. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a swatch of this one here. It's so pretty still. I would almost use this as an eyeshadow. I think it has that capability where you could use it as highlighter or eyeshadow. So this I'm very intrigued to use. I think it's going to be lovely it's funny because I'm not always a highlighter girl. Like I do like a luminous look, but when it comes to makeup, highlighter is typically something that I can skip by unceremoniously. But this one here, I decided to pick up, and it feels wonderful. It feels silky. It feels just really lovely. Now, the body oils that I got, technically one is a body oil and one is a body gel. There are also lipsticks and nail polishes, which I skipped this time. I just thought that it was too much red. I love a red, of course, but I just have a lot of red already, and I thought that a lot of the reds were just very warm. And as much as I love warm colors, it was just, I don't know, too much of the same for me for the lipsticks this time. So I decided to treat myself to something else. This is the No. 5 Gold Body Oil. So this is liquid, it's an oil for the body, and it smells like No. 5. It is so luxurious, it is so beautiful. I love to just play around with it, and I have to say, it smells amazing. It smells like No. 5, but it's actually quite nice. It smells floral. It smells like baby powder and bubblegum. It's sweet. It's lovely. It's going to be gorgeous. Maybe I can apply some a little bit later at the end of the video. And I also got the Mademoiselle. This is the Pearly Body Gel. So it's similar to No. 5, but this is not a body oil. It's a gel. So the texture is quite different. It isn't as runny, it isn't as fluid because it's actually gel, it is an oil. And this one here is more of a rose gold. It's not as warm. It does have gold, but it's a bit pinkier, which is nice. And it smells like Mademoiselle. It smells amazing. It smells like a citrus grove in Sicily on a warm day. It smells amazing. So I'll be using this at the end as well as my fragrance. I've already primed my eyelids. I've already done a little bit of a base, and all of the brushes that I'm using today are listed in the description down below. There's the description box. It has the makeup brushes and the makeup that I'm wearing. So if ever you're curious about what I'm wearing, what I'm mentioning, always check the description box. Oh, I also picked up a new brush from Chanel. This is the Blush Brush 110. So I'll go ahead and use this today as well. It has a little sheath here. Oh, taking it off the wrong side. Oops, how silly. But this is just a blush brush, and I think you could use this for bronzer as well. It's incredibly soft. It feels so soft. So this is added to my Gardenia Diptyque candle. So let's go ahead and create a look here, or create two looks, I should say. Using my blender and shadow brush here from Chanel, I'm going into this one here, this shadow with the CC. And I'm just going to sweep this pretty generally, or generously, I should say. And it's also going to go in the crease here. I'm really just taking one color and sweeping it everywhere pretty generously. And I'm taking whatever's left on the brush here and just going under the bottom lashes like this. I just noticed my lips are a little bit dry, so I'm going to add a bit of chapstick here. This is the Chanel Rouge Coco Baume in 914 Natural Charm. This is a lip balm with quite a bit of tint, and it's quite neutral, so I think it'll be nice. In this way, my lips will be hydrated. And by the time I finish the look and do something else, I can always wipe off the excess color if I want to. Switching to my definer and smudger brush, I think I'm going to go into the pencil side. Well, technically they're both pencil sides, but this one here is more tapered. And I'm going into the same shade from before. I'm just going to trace it a bit more intensely on the bottom lashes here. And I'm going to go all the way to the center, like not the center, but all the way to the eye here, like this, the center. My goodness, what is this? The inner part of the eye, wow. Words are hard sometimes. Now taking a little sponge tip applicator, I use the sponge tips. I think they're great. The sponges are not good for blending, but they're good for placing. So I'm going to pick up this color here with the sponge tip. And I'm going to place it on the mobile lid right here. And taking my big fluffy brush from before, I'm not adding anything, I'm just blending these colors together. This one's really warm on me. It's almost like golden. I think mixing them together is really nice. I'm really impressed, or not impressed, I'm just surprised by how warm this palette is. It isn't exactly what I expected. But like I said, a lot of the promo photos we see are just like so different, and they often have nothing to do with the finished product. So you can't really judge a palette by the promo photos. I'm just cleaning up a little bit. I'm not even putting anything on the Q-tip. I just want to blend this a little bit. So just very lightly, like I'm taking it from the very end of the Q-tip here, and I'm just brushing it lightly just to soften it a little bit. I'm going into the darker color here with the same pencil brush. I just want to add a bit more definition to my eye here. So I'm just going to trace a little bit the bottom lashes here and just going into the crease here as well. Now for the other side, I'm going into this dark, slightly matte, and I'm going into this side here of the brush. This is the dual-ended like blender and shadow brush here. I just swept off what the excess was on this brush here, and I'm just going to blend out this shadow in the crease here. I find that these shadows are very soft. It's very Chanel, where the pigments, the texture is very soft and very delicate. I'm being careful to control my extra jean, and I'm just trying to keep this darker brown in the outer part of my eye here. This matte is nice because it's not like a hard, chalky matte. It's a nice soft velvet. So if you're someone who's intimidated by dark colors and you're scared of going overboard, I think this is going to be a nice texture for you because you can sheer it out and you can build it up at the same time. Now using another sponge tip applicator, I'm going into the first color we used here, and I'm just going to place this on the center part of the eye here and the inner part. And then I'm just going back in with that dark matte brown, just a little bit, just to make sure it's defined. And I'm going back into this matte here, tracing it on the bottom waterline here, or in the lash line, I should say. And this I'm keeping it in like the first third of the eye here. I'm not going all the way in, just on the outside. Now for liner, I'm going to go into Espresso. I think if you have any dark chocolate brown liners, if you have liners that have a bit of gold in them, you know, some liners are creamier and they have a little bit of shimmer, but not glitter, but you know what I mean, like a little bit of warmth to them. I think this would be perfect. So I'm using Espresso here. This is just like a dark chocolate brown. I think it'll work nicely with this. You could use a black as well. I just like Espresso a lot, and it's a waterproof liner. So for this, I'm going to put some in the waterline. I'm going to trace a thin line on top and bottom as well. And I think I'm going to do that for both sides. For this eye here, I'm going into like all the way basically around the eye here with the Espresso liner, because this look is a bit more dramatic. And then for the mascara, I'm going into my Allure Volume. No, Allure, not Allure Volume. Just the black Allure mascara here. And I'm going to apply a lot of mascara. For the concealer, I'm going into a new favorite. This is the Chanel Sublimage Corrector. I did a full review and breakdown of this product here. So this is part of the Sublimage skincare line. This is the Global Anti-Aging, and they now have a concealer, which unfortunately is amazing. It has a very steep price tag, but it's great, and I use the shade 32. So you really need like a dot amount of product here just to correct everything, and I just find that it hides everything so well, so seamlessly. Like everything just gets corrected and blurred, and it's just such a great product. I think I definitely added too much product. We'll see, I'll try to blend it out in a second here. I didn't really notice any fallout. There was a tiny bit, but not that much because the shadows are very soft. I'm going to use the last shade, the gold slightly topper shade last. And while I'm waiting, because every time I put on concealer, I just let it sit for a second, I'm going to go ahead and do some swatch comparisons with this palette here. I have the Tweed Cuivré, the Tweed Copper palette here, which is very warm and just came out this year. So I'll go ahead and swatch this next to this one. I don't think it's going to have any dupes, but I know that some of you own multiple palettes like me, so you may want to see how these are compared. So this is Tweed Cuivré underneath. There's no real dupes here. Even the topper shadow, like the more sparkly topper shades, they're not really close. Obviously, if you like one, I think you like the other, but this new one here from the holidays is definitely much softer. I have the Mediterranean palette that came out in the spring release of this year. I thought this one might be close because it is softer. Let's go ahead and swatch it. No, this is Mediterranean over here. I would say Mediterranean is more like ethereal, whereas the holiday one is so warm. It's like they both have softness to them, but they're really not in the same color story whatsoever. I have the Tom Ford Suspicion palette that I think might be close to it. I love this palette so much for like a gorgeous JLo glow. Let me go ahead and swatch this one next to this Lunar palette. This is Tom Ford over here. No, I mean, if you like the Suspicion palette, I think you would enjoy this Chanel palette, but Chanel is just warm. There's no neutral, there's no cool, it's literally just warm. It's so warm, and it's warm and golden. And yeah, I'm not seeing any dupes for any of the items that I have here. I have the number 5 palette from last year. Remember this one? I kept the box because it was beautiful, but I did use my palette, so it doesn't look as great as when I first got it. No, there's nothing. I can swatch the topper shade, but remember this one? Ah, so pretty. Yeah, I can swatch the topper shade. That's literally it here. That's might be close to what we have going on. So I just swatched the topper shade over here. It honestly looks like the topper shade from last year was more topper. I think this one this year, is it this one? No, it's this one here. This one is smoother and more pigmented, whereas this one here from last year was a bit more sparkly and glittery in comparison. And this one's like a little bit more champagne, and this one is a bit warmer. So the word of the day, the word for the palette for this year is warm. Let's go ahead and blend out this concealer. I'm using my Chanel dual-ended concealer brush. The Sublimage concealer comes with its own mini brush if you want to. I like both. I don't know why. I just decided to use this one today. I think 32 is a perfect match for me because 30 was more my exact skin tone, which was fine, but 32 has like a little bit of a pink to it, so it just corrects any blue or dark circles. But if you want a concealer to hide blemishes or imperfections for the rest of your face, maybe 30 would be better because it's more beige, it's not as pink. For the blush, I'm going into 68 Rose Écrin. It's sort of like my cheek, but better, but slightly pink. So just going into this with my new blush brush. Let me just go ahead and add a little bit of bronzer. This is the 390 Soleil Tan Cream Bronzer here. And I'm using the nice kabuki brush. I'm just going to add a little bit of color, a little bit of warmth. And I'm going to add a little bit of face powder. This is the Natural Finish Loose Powder in the shade 30 here. So I'm going to go ahead and just go like this and use my little puff. And I'm just going to place it in areas where I get a little bit more oily. I put a little bit under my concealer. Honestly, you really don't need to. The concealer sets itself and doesn't move. Like, it doesn't move all day. You can powder it if you want to, but you really don't need to. I have to say that using the puff that comes with it feels incredibly extra to be doing this to your face. So if you feel like elevating your makeup routine, you can just go ahead and use the puff to set your makeup. All right, let's go into this beautiful highlighter. One more look before I swatch it around. I'm using this Shiseido brush here. This is the multi-purpose face brush, multi-use face brush. So you can use it to set powder, you can use it for blush. I like it for highlighter. So I'm going to go into this one here. I'm going to go into it lightly because I'm not sure how it's going to look exactly. I was honestly concerned that this may be too dark for me and it would be like a highlighter slash blush, but it actually works as a highlighter. It is more golden than previous ones. Like, I have a couple blushes, a couple highlighters from the brand, but I think it's nice. I think if you're more fair than me, like if you're like a B10 or something, it may be too dark. I'm like a B30, B40. Today I'm wearing the Complexion Touch in the shade 40. So that's what my complexion product was. So yeah, if you're much lighter than me, much more fair, it may be too dark, but on me it works. And there's one that's much deeper, much darker. So it is nice that the brand is doing products for deeper skin tones, but maybe they should do like 3 highlighters for the holiday seasons or something, because yeah, I feel like this one, it works, but I could see it not working on much more fair skin tones. For the lips, I'm gonna go into a combination that I've been using a lot recently. This is the Nude Brown 162 lip liner here, and then the Rouge Coco Bloom 110 Chance, and it's like this nice caramelly nude. It's been my go-to for, I don't know, several weeks now. It's just really nice. It's just a really good combination. So let's go ahead and do some swatches of the highlighter here. I have some highlighters that might be close to this, and this is just sort of to give you a guideline at home. Like, if you have one, you may want to see how this compares to the next. Now I have this golden one here in a stick. This is the Baume Essentiel in Or, which means gold. I think this came out last year or the year before. This is a stick highlighter, so it is different. The texture is different. This one is almost more yellow. It's more yellow based. This is the Balm stick here. I think this one is much more yellow, and this one is more rose gold, rose pink. It definitely has more pink to it. So the name description is great. Rose pink, rose gold. It's very true. It's very accurate. And then I have this one here called Metal Peach, which came out the year before last. I don't remember. This used to have more detailing, but then I've been using it, so now it's nicely faded away. I think this one here is more pink, maybe? Let's put it down here. That wasn't a very good swatch. Let me get some more. Let me gather more information. I would say, yeah, this peach one, metal peach, is more pink, and this one here is more warm. It's interesting that everything is so warm with this collection here. I could see it working for some people, and I could see it definitely not working for others. You know, not everything is for everyone. And metal peach definitely has more of that pinky peach glow to it. And even though this is a rose gold, it is quite gold. So yeah, like I said, not everything is going to be for everyone. I like it. I like the curated pieces that I got. I don't get everything. Like I buy a lot of makeup, but I don't buy every single item in the entire collection unless it's like a much smaller release and I'm in love with everything. But I'm not going to buy like 6 lipsticks just because, unless of course it's like the most beautiful, breathtaking thing that I've ever seen. But for me, I think that it's nice to approach all of these releases like, what do I need at the moment? Like, what's going to fill a little gap in my collection? What can I make work with me? Like, I was able to mix this lip product with the blush and things that I already own. For me, the eyeshadow and highlighter, or the meat and potatoes, and the Mademoiselle at number 5. I'm gonna go ahead and de-makeup myself, and I can go ahead and apply these for you. But I think this eyeshadow is nice. I think it's very soft. I think it's very Chanel. It's not going to be Natasha Denona or Anastasia Beverly Hills, because it isn't. It's Chanel, and it's much warmer than I anticipated. I don't know. Again, like the promo photos were all over the place, and last year it was like a classic black and white smoky eye. So it is nice that this year it isn't a black and white smoky eye. It's a bit more subtle. It's a bit more nuanced. And I think the eyeshadow looks, I could have gone even more dramatic. I could have made them even deeper. Oh, I forgot to add the little last touch of gold. Hold on. Using the clean side here of this double-ended brush, I'm going into this gold shade here. Now, if you wanted this to be more intense, you could wet your brush, and that would make it look like the color in the pan. But as is, it's a topper shade. It's a topper shade, but it's better than the topper shade last year. So I'm just adding this little touch of gold here, and then maybe just like this. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of that dark matte brown on the bottom lashes here, and I'm going to mix it with that gold just to make this a little bit more dramatic and smoldery. I think adding that little touch of gold shadow here does brighten the eye, and there isn't any fallout, so it's definitely an improvement on a topper shade, because you know sometimes those topper shades kind of just make a big mess everywhere you go, you know what I mean? This one here is nicer. Listen, I like the palette, I like the highlighter as well. I think I'm lucky that it just fits my skin tone. So yeah, but let's move on to the Mademoiselle and also number 5. It smells amazing. So this feels like a dry oil, and it isn't oily, you know what I mean? Like once you massage it into the skin, it doesn't feel sticky, it doesn't feel greasy, it's a dry oil. So you can wear this and wear clothes over top, it's not going to ruin everything. And this oil just makes your skin look so glowy, look so hydrated. It smells so good. This is the nicest number 5 scent out there. It's not too strong, and just look at my hand. It looks so radiant, so smooth, so healthy. Let's go into Mademoiselle on the other side. This one here is more of a thick gel, so it won't run as much as number 5. This one I think absorbs into the skin even faster because it's gel. It's more water, it's not oily. So this one just goes into the skin much faster. It smells amazing. I think that there's more shimmer in the Mademoiselle than number 5, just side by side compared. So yeah, that is my first video on the Chanel 2022 holiday collection. If you're new to my channel, I like to use and reuse a lot of my makeup collections, so I highly encourage you to subscribe because I will be creating more looks with this collection here and mixing and matching with other holiday releases. Let me know what other releases you want me to review, to test out. I would love to hear from you in the comments. And on that note, I think that is all we have for today. So thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.